Well, the more I thought about it, there are two possible explanations as to where they are and how they got there, right? So the first thing that comes to mind that I need to explain away is how did everyone just disappear while they were at the bathroom, right? There's no way that if this was an existing world that everyone would just up and disappear.
Unless
and
it was a simulation. What's up, Summoning fans? My name is Flip.
And I'm Element.
And we get together each and every week to catch up to some of our favorite Asian dramas, and we are taking it back to Alice in Borderlands. Who the hell is behind Borderlands? Who or what is behind the deep mechanisms of these games? Ever since we watched Alice in Borderland, we've just been theorizing about how to beat the Seven of Hearts or any game of hearts, as well as who is behind these games.
Specifically, how to beat the Game of Hearts without anyone dying, you know? And of course, the biggest question we have left to answer is who is behind all these games, as Flip said. And there are a couple of theories jumbling around our heads.
Jumpling?
We like to keep up with all of the current Asian dramas, but this one just keeps us coming back, you know? The theory about who's behind the game and the game dealers and just the world that they're in. And so there are a couple of theories, like I said. So what were you thinking in terms of who's behind all this?
One of my first prevailing theories is it's just like Westworld. Now hear me out here, right? There's different territories, and obviously the games have been going on for quite some time because the beach has been established for quite some time. Players have been playing the games for quite some time. They've been collecting cards. Arasu and his friends just happened to join in the middle of something, and the games have been going on for quite some time. I keep saying quite some time, but hear me out here. Just like Westworld, there are many different territories. There are many different parks, right? And I think the game is used as a source of entertainment for the rich and the privileged. And, you know, there's gambling involved, and they're just gambling on lives. If I think about Westworld, you know, they're like high society that just kind of controls everything, and all of these people are just fodder, you know, for the games. And they bet on these games, and they make money, and they lose money, and they just splurge on their urge of power.
Splurge on their urge.
Splurge on their urge. That's my theory about Westworld. Well, what about your theory?
Well, the more I thought about it, there are two possible explanations as to where they are and how they got there, right? So the first thing that comes to mind that I need to explain away is how did everyone just disappear while they were at the bathroom, right? There's no way that if this was an existing world that everyone would just up and disappear.
Unless it was a simulation.
I'm going for more of like a virtual reality kind of Black Mirror-ish type of theory where they're in like a visualization of a social experiment.
Oh, okay. Now, wait a second. So we are theorizing this based on just what we've seen.
Yes.
Right? We have not read any of the source material, or, I mean, we've poked around in the internet about Reddit and some conversations here and there, but if you have seen or if you have read the source material, I know some of you can't help it. You leave it in the comment section below and you might just ruin it, but I appreciate it that you put some spoiler tags in there before we expand on your comment. But please, go ahead and put your comments in the section below about your own theory.
So the reason I come to this conclusion is because it's based on a manga, and everything just comes down to them being in another world. And so when I think about them going into the bathroom, everyone disappearing, I feel like they've been transported into another world, or they are part of a social experiment. And since you said there have been people already there, already competing, there's this company that is recruiting people to sign up for this experiment, and then they go on they go under like a trance or a coma, and they participate in this like paid experiment. And then they plug into this world. And so that, you know, these people who are already on the beach and established have already been like part of this experiment. So one major thing about this experiment is trying to conclude, just like Maze Runner, which people are worth bringing into like a new world, or which people are needed for the actual real world. Because we don't know if it's like a simulation or a VR world. there may be, just like Maze Runner, there's like a virus or there's some sort of like invasion happening, and they need people
that's
to like
crazy.
test their smarts and stuff.
Well, the clues are in front of you in the very first shots of the first episode, right? Arisu is playing some kind of first-person shooter, and so the theory of it being a video game or some kind of virtual reality or some kind of simulation is kind of there in front of you. My mind is going straight to Sword Art Online, where they're just transported in this world. People are dying all over the place. You're game over. And, you know, I didn't see all of Sword Art Online, but like, I don't know what the conclusion is, but I think that's pretty viable.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of hints and Easter eggs that are dropped via dialogue where they're concluding that they are in a different Japan and not the Japan that they know. And of course, when I'm thinking about the people who are already established in this world before Arisu and his friends are transported or brought into it, is that we already have game testers and game dealers in place. You know, a lot of these people watching the monitors, and we have the two girls that were already picked to be game dealers, and they were sent in to set up the games as well as participate in them and make sure that other people died so that they could get the visas to live longer on their end. And so like to have people, game dealers, game testers or whatever already established, as well as players already established, then the world seems a little bit less grounded in reality and more grounded in virtual reality.
So that kind of also explains the fireworks, right? It's kind of like a simulation. It's like a restart, like game start again or reset of some sorts. And if it's a simulation or if it's a virtual reality type of situation, then that's just kind of like a, you know, a game start new level kind of thing, and all of the simulation restarts, and might explain why people just suddenly disappear.
Yes, absolutely. That's the biggest thing in my theory, is how do people disappear? Now, if it's like a Westworld situation, where did they all go? Did they all just get instructions in their head to run and hide in the nearest cubby hole? You know, as hosts are not simulations, right? They're actually alive.
The long shot that I have, the one last theory that I have that is a complete long shot. And if you remember the show Lost, you might recognize this theory. And I know Lost kind of, I think I lost element because this is probably the worst theory you can come up with. But they were trapped souls, trapped in limbo, and that's kind of a
Lost
long
was
shot
shadow
theory.
monsters. Shadow monsters at the end, nothing explained.
You know, they're in limbo and they're just kind of in self-reflection, trying to get to the other side.
But at the end of the day, I think I can probably point to one theory that I have placed my bets on, and that is it is a social experiment that they sign up for. These people who sign up and they're put under, and their heads are transported into this world via like wires into their heads. And Arisu and his friends also signed up for the same kind of experiment. They went under, forgot about their real world, and got placed in this world. And they're all just like lying on beds with wires on their heads.
Now, one question that I have for you, and you as well, and maybe you can answer this too, but would you be disappointed if this was all like just a bad dream and they wake up and their friends are like, hey, I got to play this game, like it was crazy, and like I died, and like you killed me, and you know, like our friendship is like broken.
There is a possibility that it could not be disappointing, in that they wake up from this experiment and the first person they talk to from this experiment is Mira, who is the head scientist of this experiment.
Wow.
And you know, they're suddenly realizing where they actually are, and she doesn't obviously just say, oh, it was all a dream. She says, thank God you made it out of there, because now the real games begin, and we need you, our best players from the simulation, to beat all of these games.
Oh my goodness!
And free us.
Well, it's like Maze Runner, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
The strongest survive to be able to face the real world or whatever the harsh realities they're waiting for. Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, that is it for us. Leave your theories and comments in the section below. What do you think? A social experiment that they'll just wake up from to this harsh reality or this harsh world that's waiting for them outside? Or could it be like Westworld, where it's just a simulation of games where the rich and the privileged gamble on lives? Well, that wraps it up for us. And if you like this video, leave us a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tap that bell notification for more videos from us. And once again, we'll see you next time.